Yo guys, what is up? I'm Rich, welcome back to the channel. As you would have guessed by the title, we're going to be reviewing two popular Samsung tablets today, the Galaxy Tab A8 and the Galaxy Tab A7 Lite. Both of which are similar in many ways, but also have a few key differences that set them apart, and we're going to find out a little bit more in this video what they are. So I chose to compare these two tablets because I found that they're more of the budget-friendly end of the tablets, the Tab A8 being priced at $230, while the Tab A7 Lite being priced around $160. In this video, I'll compare the differences in design, how well they perform in content consumption like games and media. Lastly, I'll talk about their camera, battery life, and my overall general thoughts about them. So for those who haven't subscribed, I appreciate if you could hit that button for me, helps me out a lot. Shout out to those who are already subbed, but enough jibber jabber, let's get right into it. So right off the bat guys, I think both of these tablets are perfect for the casual media consumer, you know, the type of person that likes to watch YouTube, Netflix. Maybe you want to get a nice tablet to play some games. I know many people loved gifting their kids a Tab A7 Lite. It was very popular for a while and it still is today. It's just a really cheap tablet in general. The A7 Lite simply works well, giving us just enough power to run some very basic tasks. The A8 on the other hand aims at giving us a better and bigger high definition screen while including an 8-core CPU to help give us a speedy kick to the performance. Whether or not which one is better will be totally up to you, but let me help you with that decision. Let's start off with the design. Both of these tablets have a very nice satin finish that feels great in the hand. They actually do a pretty great job minimizing fingerprints and grease on this. I don't necessarily feel dirty while using this over time. It kind of feels premium for being a budget tablet. I don't think they feel bulky. If anything, they're very lightweight. The Tab A8 weighing in at 508 grams while the Tab A7 Lite at 371 grams. So as you can see, they can be enjoyed for very long periods of time without burdening your hands. I know my little 10-year-old cousin loves this device. He says it's really light. Both of these tablets have headphone ports, so thank goodness. Apple. Both have USB-C charging ports, which is also great. It allows for fast universal charging. The speakers and mic perform relatively well, giving us just a good enough sound. Once you cross that 50% speaker volume mark, the mids and highs start to get a little teeny and annoying. It's kind of like it's screeching when you play music at high volume. So don't be expecting any rich sounding music coming out of these tablets because they won't. Other than that, the A7 Lite's 8.7 inch screen is rocking a 1340 by 800p screen, which looks fine in most situations. It's technically not 1080p. If you're someone that wants a better display, I consider getting the Tab A8 instead because of that nicer and bigger 10.5 inch 1080p screen. I think the difference is very noticeable. The A8's display is something that you want just for a few more bucks. It looks nicer in almost all cases. The colors and vibrancy are more richer on the A8. The display is sharper, your games, your movies, and shows will look much better in general, and lastly, who wouldn't want a bigger screen, right? I also found that when you're using this in outdoor weather conditions, especially on an overcast or a sunny day, the Tab A8 has a higher nits of brightness, so it's easier to see rather than compared to the A7 Lite. So design-wise, I would say the Galaxy Tab A8 takes it in my book. I definitely do think it's worth that extra money because of that nicer, better, bigger display. Then when it comes to performance, the Galaxy Tab A8 has a T618 8-core Unisoc chip, which gives it a very noticeable speed difference over the Tab A7 Lite. I feel like the Tab A8 is more responsive and snappier with my actions. When I scroll across the UI and open up apps, it definitely loads better. The A7 tends to struggle a bit when it comes to opening up something like a simple game, but web browsing, watching YouTube and all that just feels more enjoyable because of that speed. Seriously, that T618 chip is kind of underrated at this price. For $220, you're getting some pretty feel-good speeds. It's not the fastest, but it definitely is worth your money at this price point. The A7 Lite is, well, pretty light. It's hard for me to fully enjoy that tablet when I'm trying to do basic things. I feel like I can use my smartphone and look up something much faster and better, which kind of defeats the purpose of getting a tablet in the first place. So the performance of the A7 Lite is not all there. It's kind of slow. Gaming on the A8 is also a much better experience. I'm able to run games like Asphalt 9 Legends, which is a pretty graphically intense game for some mobile devices out there. You can see that the Tab A8 is able to run it pretty well. The game looks lively, fast-paced, but also vibrant. The frame rate doesn't struggle that much either. I'd say it runs smoothly. The A7 Lite here struggles a little bit more. I'd say just be prepared for a few hitches and slowdowns when it comes to the frame rate. The A7 Lite struggled to keep the game playing smooth. You know, Call of Duty Warzone wasn't that fun either. It looked kind of mellow, laggy, and it took a while for a lot of the scenery and things to load. Definitely not able to run heavy games, and if you're planning to get the A7 Lite, I would not have many high expectations for this to run medium to more intensive games. I would try to stick to as many basic games as possible. You know, maybe something like Cut the Rope, Temple Run. So in general, I think the Tab A8 is definitely worth that extra money when it comes to performance. It's not the fastest tablet ever made, but it's certainly not slow to the point where, you know, it hurts my needs and starts kind of catching on to me, you know? I would say the Tab A8 is comparable to the speed of maybe a 2015 to a 2018 Android phone. The camera between these two devices are not great in my opinion. I'm not sure if anyone here will be using their tablets as their main photography device, but it is there if you do want to have some fun with it. They're not great at capturing pictures. There's a little bit too much grain, not much to take away from both cameras. The A8 comes with two cameras, the 5 megapixel front facing one and the 8 megapixel autofocus rear one that allows for a full 1080p video recording at 30 frames per second. Now the front camera is not exactly the best to take photos, but it is sufficient enough for video calls. Now between the battery life of these devices, I was able to get a whopping 9 to 13 hours of usage on both. They do include a whopping 7,000 milliamp battery in the A8. The A7 Lite managed to get past 13 to 14 hours in usage. I do give it to that weak CPU. It really is saving a lot of power. So in general, you can expect a 1.5 to 2 day usage of these devices. And that includes playing games, watching movies, and surfing the web. So when it really comes down to them, I really think the Tab A8 is the better buy overall. I'm sure you heard me talk about all the good things about it. But in all seriousness, I do think if you could spend an extra couple bucks to get the Tab A8 over the A7 Lite, it definitely is worth your money, especially when it comes to the CPU. The performance of the Tab A8 is just good enough for today. The A7 Lite, in my opinion, is just a little bit too slow. So in general, the Tab A8, in my opinion, is a better buy. Everything about it is better than the A7 Lite, in my opinion. I think Samsung did a great job at giving the A8 a refresh over the A7. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today's video. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Other than that, if you do have this tablet or you're looking at getting it, you know, let me know what you think. Say some stuff down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and click subscribe to see more stuff in the future. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and until the next video guys, I'll see you then.